The story opens at a glittering party full of rich businessmen, and every head turns when a woman named Min Hui walks in. The rumor around her is that she is dangerous, the kind of woman who seduces powerful men to climb the ladder. So nobody is shocked when she sits on the lap of the man hosting the party and starts flirting with him. They are only shocked when his wife marches over and throws a glass of wine straight into her face. Watching all of this from across the room is a special guest named Xin-Chi. He has had his eyes on Min Hui since the moment she arrived. He pulls her out of the room, helps her wipe the wine off her face, and asks what she could possibly want so badly that she would humiliate herself with a married man. She does not answer. She just stands there with her eyes filling up. 5 years ago, these two were a couple. Their relationship ended badly, and neither of them ever really let go of it. Xin-Chi says he wants to bury the past, but he is still far too hurt to actually put it down. Once he leaves, Min Hui calls the married man she was just flirting with, and the truth comes out. The whole thing was staged. He asked her to do it, to put on a show of seduction in front of that crowd so she could settle an old debt after humiliating him years ago. In exchange, he promised that his father, a surgeon, would operate on her son as soon as possible. Her little boy has a serious heart condition. Everything she does for him. But nobody at that party knew any of that, so they all judged her by the worst possible version of the story. This is the love you give me. Xin-Chi is the CEO of an investment company. After the breakup 5 years ago, he went abroad to get treatment for his own illness, and the two of them never crossed paths again. He only came back to Min Hui's city to handle a business matter, and he never expected to run into the woman he used to love. While he is getting a health check at the hospital, he bumps into a little boy in the restroom, and the two of them share the exact same strange habit while washing their hands. The boy is friendly and cheerful, and he happily calls Xin-Chi a handsome man. His name is Quan, and he is Min Hui's son. Not long after, Xin-Chi runs into Min Hui herself. She asks if they can forgive each other and finally move on. He refuses flat out and tells her she still has a debt to pay. Min Hui works at a technology company called Bayan, where she runs the research and development unit. Her company needs a partnership with Jiaran Hospital to develop a new medical technology, and the largest shareholder of that hospital just happens to be Xin-Chi. Min Hui is put in charge of landing the deal, which means she has no choice but to win over the one man in the city who hates her. He knows it too, and he makes every single meeting as difficult as he possibly can. Meanwhile, the date for Quan's heart surgery is finally set. The boy makes a wish. If the operation goes well, he wants a father. Min Hui does not apologize for the past, and she does not let it touch her work. She just keeps showing up. Eventually, he lets her present. Her company is developing a system that could dramatically improve the accuracy of heart disease screening. As someone who has lived with a heart condition his entire life, Xin-Chi actually loves the idea, but he cannot approve a partnership on his own. Bayan has to win a formal tender against a competitor first. As for the doctor Quan calls Papa, his name is Dr. Zhao. He is the physician who has managed the boy's heart condition since birth. He lives in the same neighborhood, and he has been quietly in love with Min Hui for years. Around this time, Min Hui's boss and closest friend at work, Chao Mu, accidentally hits a cyclist with her car. She stops to help and then realizes the man she just hit is extremely handsome. She drops him off at the hospital, trades contact information with him, and rushes off to the Jiaran tender with Min Hui. They lose. The hospital board leans toward the competitor's technology instead. Min Hui knows her product is better, and she refuses to accept the result. Cao Mu goes back to the hospital to check on the man she hit. His name is Jiajun, and instead of feeling guilty, she jokes about how skilled she must be to run over someone that good-looking. Jiajun tells her he considers himself lucky since the woman who hit him is beautiful and willing to take responsibility. At a convenience store near the hospital, Xin-Chi bumps into Quan again, and they play a shooting game together. That is when he notices the boy is wearing a heart monitor. He also learns 2 things. Dr. Zhao is not the boy's father at all, and Quan's biological father is supposedly dead. When Min Hui spots her son talking to Xin-Chi, she panics and drags him away, which only makes Xin-Chi more suspicious. For the first time, a thought crosses his mind. That boy might be his. Refusing to let the tender go, Min Hui demands an explanation for the loss. Xin-Chi tells her the hospital board voted, and the majority chose the technology from Guankao, the company run by Qirong. Qirong is the same sleazy man who made her perform that fake seduction at the party. Minhui is convinced the vote was rigged, and she starts digging. And for all his cold behavior, Xin-Chi cares about her project far more than he lets on. He feels out Qirong and his assistant, Shi Yue, and notices something that does not add up. When he digs deeper, he finds it. Qirong bribed one of the hospital executives to hand over his vote. The two of them team up, gather the evidence, and expose it. The tender is thrown out, and Jiren hospital signs with Bayan. Qirong is furious with his assistant for leaving such a sloppy trail, but his anger does not last long because it turns out Shi Yue is also his mistress. To celebrate the win, Cao Mu invites Xin-Chi to dinner. Her real plan is to get him blackout drunk as revenge for all the times he made Minhui's life miserable. But Minhui shuts it down because alcohol is dangerous for a man with a heart condition, and she drinks every glass in his place until she is the one who can barely stand. Xin-Chi still tells her that none of this erases what she did. And here is what she did. Xin-Chi grew up in an orphanage. He was sickly and weak, and the other children kept their distance from him, except for one girl named Su Tian, who stayed by his side. When a wealthy family adopted him and took him to America, the two of them made a promise to meet again as adults, 15 years later, but Su Tian never made it to that meeting. She died in a bus accident while traveling with her friend, a young woman named Minhui. In her final moments, Su Tian asked Minhui, who survived the crash, to go to that meeting in her place and hand Xin-Chi her diary. Minhui went, and she told him her real name because she did not want to lie to him. Xin-Chi simply assumed it was the new name she was given after being adopted, and Minhui kept waiting for the right moment to correct him. Then she watched him collapse from his heart condition, and she changed her mind. She decided to let him believe she was Su Tian, at least until he flew back to America. The problem is that she fell in love with him. He was sweet to her, she was happy, and the two of them started dating with marriage on the table. 3 months in, someone else exposed her real identity before she could. Xin-Chi was devastated. She tried to explain what really happened to Su Tian, but he did not believe a word of it. He decided she was a con artist who had targeted him because his adoptive family was rich. He ended the relationship and they never saw each other again. Back in the present, Minhui tells him plainly that she never got the chance to tell him the truth, which is exactly why she had to keep the lie going while they were together. But she wants him to know one thing: her feelings for him were always real. Right after she says it, she collapses from the alcohol and Cao Mu takes her home. Xin-Chi cannot sleep that night. For the first time, he starts to feel guilty that he only ever cared about his own pain. Jiajun is finally released from the hospital, and Cao Mu drives him home and helps him inside. They stumble onto the sofa and end up tangled together, and she awkwardly tells him she did not mean to take advantage of him. He tells her he is the lucky one. Then she notices a photo of a young Jiajun with a little girl. He explains that the girl was his older sister. They were separated as children, and he spent years searching for her, until 2 years ago when he found out she had died. Jiajun is a swimming coach with no family left in the world. Cao Mu, who is older than him, tells him he can come to her whenever he needs anything, and he asks her to visit him often. Quan finally has his surgery, and it goes perfectly. Then Minhui gets word that her son's condition has suddenly worsened, and he needs a blood transfusion. Xin-Chi immediately offers to donate. Minhui stops him. He presses her for a reason, and she is cornered into admitting the truth that a biological father should not be donating blood to his own child. That is how Xin-Chi learns Quan is his son. And here is the twist. The boy was fine the entire time. Xin-Chi had already suspected the truth, and he knew Minhui would never admit it on her own, so he staged the entire emergency just to force the words out of her mouth. He asks her why she hid his own son from him. She tells him she only found out she was pregnant 3 months in. She could not bring herself to end it, and she had no way to tell a man who despised her. And with that, the hardest version of Xin-Chi finally starts to crack. He is overjoyed to have a child, and he immediately starts figuring out how to be around him. His assistant, Hardy, is thrilled for him and passes the news along to Xin-Chi's superior, a woman who cares deeply about him. A few days later, Minhui comes home to find Xin-Chi playing with her son in her living room. He cannot take Quan to his place, so his solution is to move into hers instead. Minhui hates it, but her son has wanted a father his whole life, and she cannot bring herself to take that away from him, so she lets him stay, fully convinced he will quit within a week. They set ground rules. The biggest one is secrecy. Nobody at her company can know she is living with Shin-chi or that he is Kwang-kwan's father, because she refuses to become office gossip and watch her career burn. Shin-chi agrees and asks her to explain the situation to their son. Luckily, Kwang-kwan is sharper than he looks. He understands what a biological father is, and he accepts Shin-chi without hesitation. Across town, Jia-jun gets so excited about Chow-mu visiting his apartment that he falls down the stairs and injures his arm. Now he can barely walk or use his left hand. Chow-mu wants to hire a nurse, but he refuses, saying strangers make him uncomfortable. She points out that she is a stranger too. He says she is not, so she just invites him to move into her place so she can look after him. Meanwhile, Dr. Zhao gets assigned a young patient who will not stop crying over a leg she injured doing ballet. The second he takes over her case, she goes quiet and becomes the most cooperative patient in the building. She has fallen for him on sight. Her name is Ziju, and her father is the director of the hospital where he works. Kwang-kwan, meanwhile, is living the dream. His father walks him to school for the first time in his life. His room fills up with Iron Man toys. He spends a whole day at the mall with his dad buying matching outfits. Watching all of this, Min-hui starts to panic. She is terrified Shin-chi is going to take her son away from her, so the two of them finally sit down and talk it out. Shin-chi admits he was angry when he first found out Kwang-kwan was his because he knows exactly how painful a heart condition is, and he could not stand the idea of his child living through the same thing when she could have chosen not to have him. Min-hui tells him she could not ignore the life growing inside her, and that she believed the illness could be treated while a lost child could never be undone. So Shin-chi thanks her for not giving up, for bringing their son into the world, for raising him alone all these years. He tells her that Kwang-kwan's birth is the reason he no longer feels alone, that he finally has a family. He grew up an orphan, and he never wants his son to feel that emptiness. All he wants is time with the boy, and he promises he will never take him away from her. One night, out at dinner with co-workers, Min-hui gets dragged into a mess with a colleague named Ding Yifeng, a lecherous drunk who tries to grope a junior employee. Min-hui steps in to protect her, and Ding Yifeng retaliates by mocking her for having a child with no husband. Shin-chi happens to be there, and he hears all of it. He tears into Ding Yifeng for turning his son and the woman he loves into a cruel joke. Nobody has ever defended Min-hui like that. The next day, she sends a cake to his office, and Shin-chi cannot stop smiling for the rest of the day. Ding Yifeng, however, is not done. When Shin-chi gives Min-hui a ride to a meeting, Ding Yifeng snaps a photo and spreads it through an anonymous account, claiming she is sleeping with some rich man. He has no idea the man in the car is Shin-chi because his face was never in the shot. Ding Yifeng wants Min-hui, and he resents her for constantly shutting down his behavior at work. By morning, the photo is all over the company. Min-hui figures out immediately who leaked it, reports him, and demands a public apology. Midway through the mess, Ding Yifeng runs into Shin-chi, who calmly informs him that he is the man in the photo, and that if Ding Yifeng does not fix this, he will be unemployed. Ding Yifeng confesses and clears her name. Now that he knows Kwang-kwan is his, Shin-chi finally starts making peace with everything. One night, Kwang-kwan begs both his parents to read him a story and refuses to let go of either of their hands, so all three end up asleep in the same bed. Min-hui wakes up horrified to find herself hugging Shin-chi, and she immediately pretends to still be asleep. When Shin-chi tries to sneak out, Kwang-kwan cheerfully announces that his mom is faking. Then he asks whether, now that his parents have slept together, this means they will never be apart. Neither of them has an answer. Right after this, Dr. Zhao shows up unannounced at Min-hui's home and discovers Shin-chi living there. She rushes him out and explains the situation. Dr. Zhao has waited years for her, and Shin-chi's presence is a serious problem, but it does not stop him. He has no intention of giving up. And on the other side, Shin-chi is now quietly wondering if there is something going on between Min-hui and the doctor. Meanwhile, Kao-mu discovers that Jia-jun has been faking it. His leg healed a long time ago. He lied because he was afraid that once he recovered, she would have no reason to keep him around. Kao-mu does not care about the reason. She hates being lied to, and now every second she spent worrying about him feels wasted. Jia-jun has never dealt with a woman this angry. He apologizes, packs his things, and goes home, leaving behind a note full of thanks. She had every right to be furious, but she never expected him to actually walk out over it. At work, Min-hui hits a wall. She has designed an AI-based heart modeling software that would let medical experts understand the heart's anatomy in a way nothing else can. Her CEO refuses to fund it because it will not turn a profit anytime soon and tells her to find her own investor, so she takes it to Shin-chi. He sees the potential, he doubts the profitability, and he gives her 2 weeks to refine the proposal. As she works on it, he helps her gather data and sharpen the pitch, and the two of them get closer than they have been in 5 years. Then one night, buried in stress, Min-hoi drinks far too much. Dr. Zhao helps her home, and Shin-chi happens to see it, and it eats at him. Once she is home, Shin-chi looks after her, and she catches him completely off guard by kissing him. She is drunk and half-conscious, which is exactly what makes it mean something. She still has feelings for him. She wakes up the next morning mortified. But Shin-chi has already made breakfast, dropped their son at school, and called her office to take the day off for her. And to protect her pride, he acts like the kiss never happened. Her work pays off. The proposal is perfect, and Shin-chi invests. To celebrate, Chao-mu gives her a day off with her son. Shin-chi, meanwhile, takes a golf meeting with Chirong, who is still hunting for investment. Shin-chi turns him down flat and calls out his assistant to her face for rigging the tender. He has no intention of forgiving anyone who ever made life hard for Min-hoi. Then he joins her and Kwang-kwan at an amusement park, where the three of them look exactly like a family. Jia-jun, meanwhile, has been watching Chao-mu from a distance because he misses her. She notices, and she is delighted. She turns up at the pool where he coaches and pretends she cannot swim, so he has to teach her. Ziju keeps chasing Dr. Zhao, even volunteering at the hospital just to be near him. He keeps dodging her and she keeps going, and Dr. Zhao has not given up either. He buys Min-hoi a pair of shoes to celebrate her funding. Shin-chi, refusing to be outdone, buys her shoes too. His are not pretty, they are comfortable and practical, which is exactly why she likes his better. At school, Kwang-kwan signs up for a parent and child event. Min-hoi gives in and agrees to go, but Shin-chi is out of town. Then, on the day of the event, he shows up anyway with food for everyone, having pulled multiple all-nighters to cut his trip short. When Min-hoi fails at baking a cake, he bakes one with her, and Kwang-kwan is thrilled to see his parents like this. Back at the pool, Jia-jun watches Chao-mu dive in and rescue a drowning girl, which blows her cover completely. Over drinks at a bar, he keeps asking whether she faked not knowing how to swim just to be near him, the same way he faked an injury to stay by her side. She never answers. She just smiles and he kisses her. The romance dies immediately when he gets sick from drinking. She takes him home, dumps him in the bathtub, and films his drunk rambling with enormous satisfaction right up until she falls into the tub with him. They lock eyes, and they pick that kiss right back up. At work, Min-hoi finally tells Chao-mu everything. Chao-mu is stunned to learn Shin-chi is Kwang-kwan's father. After hearing the whole story, she tells her to stop hiding from her own feelings, and that his return might be the chance for both of them to finally make peace. Min-hoi is not sure what she feels yet, but she says that if she ever becomes sure, she will not run from it. Shin-chi is dragged in for a heart checkup on his superior's orders. He only agrees when Min-hoi promises to stay with him. At the hospital, he finds her asleep on the sofa and helps her lie down. And when she wakes up, she pretends to still be sleeping, until his staring makes her laugh. Later, he overhears Dr. Zhao and Ziju talking, and Ziju learns that the man she loves is in love with someone else. She walks away crushed. Then Shin-chi confronts Dr. Zhao directly. Dr. Zhao admits he has loved Min-hoi since the day he met her 4 years ago and has no intention of backing down. Shin-chi's answer is simple. If she felt anything for him, she would not have left him waiting 4 years. Back at Bayan, Min-hoi's heart modeling project clears the board of directors, and she can finally start building. She and Shin-chi plan a dinner to celebrate. More good news arrives from Chao-mu, who is officially with Jia-jun now. She had been anxious because he never confessed after their first kiss, but it turns out he considered the kiss itself the confession and had been calling her his girlfriend in his head the entire time. He had skipped the words because he had zero dating experience, so he made up for it with a full confession at the pool. He thought it was embarrassing and childish. She loved it, and she said yes. On the night of the celebration dinner, Shin-chi buys Min-hoi a lipstick as a gift. The evening is going perfectly, right until Kwang-kwan slips out of sight and vanishes into an enormous shopping mall. Shin-chi calms her down and they split up to search. A mall employee finds the boy and calls Min-hoi. It turns out Kwang-kwan wanted to buy his mother a gift too, just like his dad, and got so absorbed in finding something she would like that he wandered off without noticing. The boy sobs and apologizes for scaring them. And in that moment, Min-hoi admits something to herself. There are things she simply cannot handle alone. She has been a capable single mother for years, but she has limits, and Shin-chi fills the gaps she never could. So she takes his hand and asks if they can leave the past behind and raise their son together. He agrees without hesitating and holds on tight, and then it all falls apart. Stopping by Shin-chi's office to talk about work, Min-hoi accidentally finds a legal document. Shin-chi has hired a lawyer to take custody of Kwon away from her. Every warm moment they have shared instantly turns to poison. Shin-chi walks in and finds her in tears. She leaves without a word, throws him out of her home, and refuses to hear a single explanation. Here is the truth. Shin-chi never went after custody. The document was drawn up by his superior, who assumed he wanted to raise the boy alone and decided to help. But no matter how he explains it, Min-hoi does not believe him anymore, and the two of them separate. Kwon does not understand why his father left, and Min-hoi only tells him Shin-chi is busy with work. She blocks his number, though the boy can still reach him through Hardy. And watching how much her son misses him, she starts to feel guilty for keeping them apart. Meanwhile, Chirong has dinner with his wife and his father-in-law. Their marriage is a business arrangement and nothing more. His wife does not care about his affairs and does not even forbid them as long as they stay private and never embarrass the family. All she cares about is her lifestyle and her dog. Chirong married her because she is the heir to Guankao, and she married him because he can run the company. Her father is old and failing now, and Chirong is desperate to prove he deserves to inherit it, which is exactly why he thinks any dirty tactic is justified. At work, Min-hoi gets an invitation to an AI conference in Shanghai, where she can present her heart modeling project to investors. Chow Mu is supposed to come with her but stays behind for other work, so Min-hoi flies out with Kwon. At the airport, she gets bumped up to business class for free. When she arrives, her hotel room has been upgraded too. Suspicious, she digs and finds out Shin-chi arranged all of it and secretly followed her to Shanghai. She immediately demands the cheap room she actually booked. Then she walks through the lobby and sees a woman throw her arms around Shin-chi and kiss him on the cheek. Min-hoi grabs her son and leaves. Shin-chi chases her down and explains. The woman is Shin-di, his superior, and his adoptive older sister who lives abroad. Min-hoi cannot exactly refuse coffee with a woman who flew across the world to meet her and Kwon, and Shin-di adores the boy on sight. And that is where the truth finally comes out. Shin-di never knew her brother was in love with Min-hoi. She assumed he was desperate for custody, so she hired the lawyer herself, never imagining she was blowing up his relationship. To settle it for good, Shin-chi draws up a formal agreement stating that he will never seek custody of Kwon and asks only to see him once a week. Min-hoi signs, and the two of them make peace. With free time before the conference, Min-hoi takes Kwon camping, and Chow Mu conveniently arranges a driver and all the gear. At the beach, they run into Shin-chi, who claims he just happens to be there with a business partner and ends up joining them. That night, over a few beers, it slips out that he conspired with Chow Mu to send the driver and the gear and then staged the coincidence. He denies everything. She knows he is lying, and she is happy anyway. Elsewhere, Dr. Zhao is sulking over his rotten luck with Min-hoi when Ziju turns up to cheer him up and drags him to the movies. She knows he loves someone else, and she does not care. Dr. Zhao actually enjoys her company, and he overhears her gushing to a friend on the phone about being on a date with him. He has no reason to dislike her, and for the first time, something in him starts to open. Meanwhile, Jiajun follows Chow Mu all the way to Shanghai, and she is far too proud to admit how happy that makes her. Then comes the conference. Entrepreneurs and researchers pack the hall. Chirong is there with Shiyue, presenting the same technology Shin-chi already rejected. And at the last possible minute, the organizers tell Min-hoi her presentation slot has been cancelled. She knows exactly who did it. Chirong pressured them to shut her out. So at the end of the event, she stands up and asks the entire room to stay and give her a few minutes. She is well respected enough that they do. And the second her presentation ends, investors swarm her. Chirong's sabotage collapses completely. At the reception party afterward, Min-hoi walks in wearing a stunning gown, and Shin-chi cannot take his eyes off her. Shin-di apologizes for the custody mess, and the two women warm to each other. Chirong, having lost his shot, decides to destroy her instead. He and Shiyue start dragging her personal life into the open in front of everyone, spreading the fact that she has a child and no husband. The whole room turns to look at her. Mu warns Shiwei to stop, and Shiwei keeps twisting the knife until Minhui is completely humiliated. Then Xinqi takes Quan by the hand, walks him into the middle of the room, and announces to everyone present that he is the boy's biological father, and that Minhui kept their relationship private to protect her career. The humiliation dies on the spot, and Minhui has never been prouder of him. Afterward, Mu is genuinely thrilled for her best friend, who is finally getting happiness after years of raising a child alone. She tells Jiajun the whole story, about how Minhui met Xinqi, and about a girl named Su Tian who tied their fates together. Jiajun goes completely silent. Meanwhile, a very drunk Minhui asks Xinqi whether he likes her, and then throws up before he can answer. The truth is, he has always liked her. Even when he hated her, he never stopped loving her, and now he is finally ready to say so. But across town, Jiajun is staring at his sister's photograph with tears running down his face, because the Su Tian in Mu's story is his sister. And here is the problem. In that story, Minhui was pulled to safety in the final seconds before the bus went off the cliff. But years ago, Jiajun heard testimony from a survivor who claimed he saw Su Tian arguing with Minhui right before the crash. So Jiajun becomes convinced that Minhui is the reason his sister is dead. The next morning, Xinqi sets up a small surprise for Minhui, a hand puppet show. Through it, he apologizes for breaking up with her, for only ever caring about his own pain. He thanks her for giving birth to Quan and for being an incredible mother, and he asks for one more chance. Before she can answer, Jiajun bursts in and accuses her of killing his sister. Xinqi realizes who Jiajun is, and instead of defending her, he asks Minhui to explain herself. That is the part that breaks her. She already told him the truth 5 years ago, and here he is again, looking at her with suspicion. She tells him she is innocent, and she walks out. Mu is furious at both of them. At Jiajun for accusing her best friend with no proof, and at Xinqi for doubting her at all. Minhui refuses to be branded a killer, so she takes Xinqi and Jiajun to the city where the crash happened. They meet the police who handled the case, and they track down an eyewitness, and this is what actually happened. The bus struck an embankment and everything descended into chaos. Passengers scrambled for the exits. The witness personally pulled Minhui out just seconds before the bus went over the cliff. Minhui could not save Su Tian because Su Tian went back. She ran to the rear seats to grab one thing, a childhood photo of herself with her little brother, and that is what cost her the chance to get out. The other witness, the one Jiajun believed for years, had misread Minhui trying to pull Su Tian to safety, as the two of them fighting each other to escape first. Jiajun never checked. He was drowning in grief, and he needed someone to blame. He apologizes. Minhui understands, and she does not hold it against him. She even offers to be like a sister to him if he will let her. But even with the misunderstanding cleared, Minhui keeps her distance from Xinqi. When they finally talk, he tells her he never doubted her for a second. He only wanted to understand what happened to Su Tian, not to blame her. Su Tian was the reason he survived his childhood, but he never loved her romantically. Minhui believes him. That is not the problem. The problem is that she is afraid the two of them will spend their entire lives living in Su Tian's shadow. 5 years ago, he blamed her for taking Su Tian's identity. Today, he failed to defend her when she was accused of killing Su Tian. There is no guarantee it will not happen again, and she cannot survive it a third time, because Su Tian's death wounded her too. So she makes it clear. From now on, they are nothing more than Quan's parents. In a flashback, we see Minhui reach Su Tian after the crash, broken and dying, and hear her final request to take her place at that meeting. Minhui has never once regretted saying yes, and she has never regretted loving Xinqi. Before heading home, she visits the crash site and prays that Su Tian can finally rest, and hopes that in another life they meet each other earlier. Back home, Mu drops Quan off with Dr. Zhao, who is on leave, and Ziju happily helps look after him. She is wonderful with kids. She teaches him to dance and plays Snow White with him until he declares her his new best friend. Afterward, Ziju figures out that the woman Dr. Zhao loves is Quan's mother, and she asks what makes Minhui so special, hoping she can become that too. His answer surprises her. Minhui is nowhere near perfect. She cannot cook. She is stiff and awkward. She forgets everything when she gets busy. She is blunt to the point of rudeness. And still, he says, she has always been a kind of light that makes him want to stand near her. Ziju tells him he is that same light to her, and she tells him she intends to compete fairly for his heart. Elsewhere, Shin-chi tells Jia-jun the rest of Soo-tian's story. His family originally wanted to adopt Soo-tian, not Shin-chi. She refused because being taken to America meant losing any chance of finding her little brother. That is why Shin-chi swore that once he grew up, he would find her and help her search. Jia-jun asks him a hard question. If he had never mistaken Min-hui for his sister, would he still have fallen for her? Shin-chi does not hesitate. He would have loved her anyway, because the person he loves was never Soo-tian. It was the woman he met that day. Soo-tian was his little sister, and that is all she ever was. Jia-jun then tries to repair things with Kao-mu, who assumes he only got close to her to dig up information about Min-hui. Worse, she feels she was never treated like a real girlfriend, because he never once confided in her about Soo-tian, when she could have helped him. If she had not investigated on her own, she would never have known what he was carrying. That is what actually makes her angry. The two of them barely know each other, so Shin-chi and Jia-jun, both spectacularly unlucky in love, team up to help each other, and most of their schemes fail miserably. Then one day, Min-hui takes Kwang-kwan to the pool, and Shin-chi follows. He is busy thinking about how to impress her when his heart condition flares up and drops him with a wave of pain. Min-hui rushes over and leans against his chest to listen to his heartbeat. He goes calm almost immediately, and he tells her his heart is racing because she is holding him. For a moment, she forgets she is supposed to be angry, which tells her everything about how she still feels. Jia-jun, following advice from a book, tries the cool approach and corners Chow-mu in the basement of her building, flirting with maximum swagger. She knows he is acting, and she nearly loses it trying not to laugh when building security shows up to chase him off. Her anger does not survive it. They get back together. Meanwhile, Ziju keeps pushing Dr. Zhao to be brave and confess to Min-hui instead of suffering in silence. Seeing how hard she is trying for him, he decides to do it, and she even helps him rehearse. Then, while giving him an example line, she accidentally confesses her own feelings, with tears in her eyes. She covers it up fast and tells him to say exactly what she taught him, but Dr. Zhao stops. He asks her why she is willing to help him this much, and she tells him the truth. She knows exactly what it feels like to love someone who does not love you back, and she does not want the person she loves to feel that pain. She has done everything she can, and she still cannot fill his heart. So this is her final gift to him. She says goodbye, and he goes to meet Min-hui as planned, and he cannot get Ziju out of his head. Standing in front of Min-hui, Dr. Zhao tells her he admired her for 4 years, and that he has fallen for someone else. Min-hui is genuinely happy for him. She treats it as the confession that finally lets him move on. Then he goes chasing after Ziju and finds his number blocked. She assumes he is only coming to her because Min-hui rejected him, that she is his backup plan. He never saw it that way for a second, and he refuses to give up. It is his turn to chase, the way she chased him. Meanwhile, Chirang's father-in-law starts planning the leadership transition, and Chirang scrambles to strengthen his marriage. Then his wife receives photos of his affair with Shi Yue. She is not even angry. She just warns him to be more careful if he still wants her father's company. So Chirang fires Shi Yue to kill the suspicion. She feels thrown away, so he buys her an expensive diamond necklace and feeds her a lie, promising that once he takes over Guankao, he will divorce his wife and marry her. She believes him, and she resigns. Back with Min-hui, Shin-chi is still fighting an uphill battle to win her back, and she is not making it easy. Then she stops by his house to pick up a toy he bought for Kwang-kwan, and she notices a tree in his garden. Hardy explains it to her. Shin-chi planted that tree the day he moved in, and every single evening when he came home from work, he would sit and stare at it. Hardy never understood why until he heard the story of Shin-chi's life. The tree is where their relationship began. It is where he first fell for her. In 5 years, Hardy tells her, Shin-chi never forgot her, not for a day, and that is what finally opens her heart again. After hiding his symptoms one too many times, Shin-chi finally gets his heart properly examined. Min-hui takes care of him alongside Kwang-kwan, and thankfully the verdict is manageable. He needs to cut back on work and rest. Shindy asks Min-hui to move into her brother's home and stay with him until he recovers. Min-hui agrees, and Kwang-kwan is over the moon about living with his dad. Before she leaves the country, Shindy meets Min-hui one last time and tells her she hopes Shin-chi finally gets his happy ending, because only then can the whole family rest easy. She is entrusting her brother to her. Min-hui understands. It is a goodbye. Then a bombshell drops at work. the CEO announces that Bayan is being sold. The company is perfectly healthy, but the parent company is in a financial crisis and has to offload Bayan to survive, which means there is no guarantee Min Hoi's heart modeling project survives under new ownership, and the man circling Bayan is Chirang. He wants the acquisition to impress his father-in-law, and he wants to get close to Min Hoi, because it turns out Chirang has wanted Min Hoi for years, and now we learn why she hates him. 5 years ago, right after her breakup with Shinchi, Min Hoi worked at Chirang's company, in the same division as Shi Yue. At first, Chirang seemed decent. Then he tried to assault her. She reported it, and nobody believed her. Shi Yue saw the whole thing and agreed to testify, and then, at the last possible moment, sided with Chirang instead, because she felt threatened by Min Hoi. So Chirang walked away as the innocent victim. Min Hoi was fired and branded a woman who tried to seduce her boss for a promotion. And that is why, 5 years later, he made her perform that seduction at the party. Not for revenge. To erase the old rumor and clean his own name. Now, humiliated by his losses, Chirang decides to sue her. Shinchi calmly meets him at the hospital and lays it out. If he sues Min Hoi, the assault case comes right back into the public eye. Even if he wins in court, the backlash would destroy his shot at inheriting Guankao. Min Hoi watches from a distance as Shinchi stands up for her, and whatever doubt she had left disappears. She finally takes him back. They agree to leave the past behind and look forward. Then she takes out the bracelet he gave her when he proposed 5 years ago and asks if he would put it on her again. He never imagined she kept it. He fastens it around her wrist and kisses her, and they spend the night together. The next morning, Quan catches them asleep in the same bed and sulks, because nobody invited him. At Bayan, Cao Mu and the CEO decide to buy the company themselves, and Shinchi joins in with enough capital to become the largest shareholder. Min Hoi wants to sell her house to raise her share. Shinchi offers to buy it from her, but she refuses because she needs to solve her own problems and prove her own worth. He respects that, and he helps her sell it, even though that house holds every memory she has with Quan. But Chirang is one step ahead. He and Shi Yue need to know exactly how much Min Hoi's group plans to bid, so they can outbid it. So they go to Ding Yifeng, that same harasser from her office, and promise him a big promotion if he digs up the number. He gets it, and on the day of the auction, Chirang outbids them and takes Bayan. What he did is completely illegal and could destroy Guangchao's reputation, but Chirang does not care, and it works. His father-in-law finally decides he is worthy of inheriting the company. Min Hoi tries to resign rather than work under Chirang. He threatens to make her co-workers' lives hell if she leaves, so she is forced to stay. Ding Yifeng, meanwhile, gets his promotion and immediately starts abusing it, harassing a junior employee. Min Hoi protects her and helps her report it. Ding Yifeng is arrested. The victim has proof, so he cannot deny a word of it, and the entire office celebrates his departure. Then Chirang hands Shi Wei a check and tells her to disappear as far away as possible. She realizes she has been used, refuses the money, and threatens to expose their affair. But Chirang anticipated it, and he sends men to seize every device she owns, holding evidence. Just as he starts feeling safe, an anonymous account goes public with the story of him assaulting Min Hoi 5 years ago. Chirang assumes she did it, so he sends someone to hurt her. He is wrong, and thankfully she is not badly injured. But now he has attacked the woman Shinchi loves. Shinchi stays ice cold, and he tracks down the owner of the anonymous account. It is Shi Yue, and instead of destroying her, he offers her an alliance. She takes it. She meets Min Hoi, apologizes, and hands over a full file of evidence she had been quietly preparing for exactly this moment. Armed with it, Min Hoi as the victim and Shi Yue as the whistleblower expose everything Chirang has done in a live broadcast, and it becomes the biggest story in the country. Chirang is arrested, Guanchao's stock collapses, and then Shinchi makes his final move and acquires the dying company. Chirang's wife accepts the deal to protect her family's name and what is left of the share price. Shi Yue apologizes one last time. Min Hoi forgives her, and they part on peaceful terms. With Guanchao under his control, Bayan comes right back too. Shinchi celebrates the victory with the Bayan employees and announces his relationship with Min Hoi in front of all of them. Dr. Zhao finally convinces Ziju that he really does love her, and the two of them get together. Cao Mu and Jiajun are stronger than ever, though they agree not to rush into marriage. Then Shinchi quietly buys back Min Hoi's house from the new owner, so all the memories inside it are safe. She is overwhelmed. And her happiness feels complete when he finally gets down to propose. He takes out the ring, and his heart gives out. He collapses, and he is rushed to the hospital, where Dr. Zhao delivers the news. Xin-Chi is exhausted and has developed complications. He needs surgery immediately, and the best option is to fly abroad to the doctor who treated him before. Otherwise, what happened today could kill him. Once Dr. Zhao leaves, Minhui sinks to the floor and breaks down, and Xin-Chi, thinking about his own condition, no longer wants to propose. He does not know how long he has. He has to go to America for a long and difficult operation, and he is not willing to promise her a future he might not be able to give. So Minhui does not waste their remaining time crying. She spends it making memories with him. Then one night, with help from her friends, she plays him a video. In it, she tells him exactly how she feels, and that she will never marry anyone but him. She knows he is holding back because he is afraid for his health. She tells him nothing matters more than right now. As the video ends, she walks in wearing a white gown, and she asks him to marry her. He says yes, and he promises he will put the engagement ring on her finger himself when he comes home healthy. They kiss, and everyone celebrates. That night, Xin-Chi and Minhui sleep beside their son, and the next morning, he is gone. He left without saying goodbye because he knew that if he saw her, he would not be able to make himself leave. He only tells her by phone. The separation is brutal for both of them, and it gets worse when she finds the will he wrote for her. 6 months pass. Minhui goes back to work, back to her life. Then Chao Mu tells her to dress up for a client meeting. The client is Xin-Chi. Healthy, whole, home. She runs straight into his arms. They marry not long after, an intimate wedding with only their closest friends. Quan welcomes the guests and tells everyone how lucky he feels to be watching his own parents get married. Xin-Chi and Minhui exchange vows, slide the rings onto each other's fingers, and kiss. The story ends with all of them on vacation by the beach, where Xin-Chi hangs up wish notes for every person he loves and kisses his wife. And sometime later, Quan finally gets a little brother, which is not enough for him, because now he wants a little sister too. And Xin-Chi, grinning, nudges Minhui to think it over. So the moral of the story is, if your relationship needs this many misunderstandings, fake breakups, surprise children, custody papers, jealous doctors, and heart attacks, maybe just text each other properly.